Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to my favorite podcast known to man. It's my mama's favorite podcast. And I'll be honest with you. I heard it's Nick Saban's favorite podcast. That's a whole different conversation at a different time. I want to welcome y'all to the greatest episode of What's Good America ever. Like, it's my favorite already, and we just turned it on. Listen, I'm going to introduce everybody right now because we got other shit we need to get to, but some stuff need to be said. I think like there needs to be some apologies given, and all of this stuff either needs to come directed towards me or come from me. Like there should be a lot of apologies directed towards me. But either way, I got the greatest indoor football receiver known to man, Mr. Southside of Chicago himself, James Big Game Walton III. My right-hand man on my left-hand side, but still my left-hand man on my right-hand side. Team Walton, the co-host himself. Also, we have an educator, an administrator, Mr. NCAA, I look the other way violation himself. Mr. Another one of the Saban assistants, because it's Nick Saban and his assistants. Mr. soon to be Dr. Bazemore, the administrator Bazemore. He ain't even a Spartan dog right now because he got glasses on and he looked like somebody's uncle that used to play like years ago, but can't really put his hand down on the ground anymore. Michael A. Bazemore, what's going on? Big homie, what's good?
It's popping.
And my favorite of the bunch of this quartet, my best friend, my big homie, the man who I see 6 days out of 7 days a week, Ugga himself. He seems to be a little bit subdued, a little quiet. We've had a little bit of a conversation already, but he is the Cobra Kai to the real dojo over here. Like I'm the man that we all love, Doghouse Training, Anton Grill. What's going on, big homie? You all right? Everything good? Yeah, a little quiet?
Oh, this show's not off to a good start. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and come in here as the man with a decent looking haircut. You see, I had to use the half guard. You can tell y'all see the balding is really your boy. Y'all see it now.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, "What's going on over there?"
Yeah, this is first and foremost. Let's talk about the truth that's been happening with Team Walton. Until I can afford to get that, that shampoo you be seeing on Facebook and Instagram to get these.
Bro, just let it go, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. My wife said, "Hey, listen, I'm all good with that to change it up, but I'm gonna need you to find a way without having to get the Deion Sanders $15,000 hair plugs. You know what I'm saying? To go back into your head. I'm gonna have to get that shampoo joint, but I'm gonna open up and I'm gonna say this. This show, America, as Chris Turner has said, it is an apology tour. And you know what? I really want to do this in the right way. We are here to talk about the college football playoff. It has been decided. 4 of us that are very vested in it. 4 of us that have really deserved to be in it. Myself, because once I took my team out, knowing that they'd never had a chance week 1, I can be objective about all this. And I can change my mind and I can be the first take. I could be the undisputed. I could be all these shows and be that guy. Well, we've had 3 vested parties in this that have put great efforts to it. And I'm going to start with my co-host. I'm going to let it be known that I named everybody in this podcast. Everybody has a name for a reason. And I'm going to officially, like you didn't need this like the next day after, but if anybody in this conversation says anything different, then I really know that it's just petty. They don't care about what the game is. Congratulations to you, Chris Turner, and your Heisman winning trophy quarterback. That was a hell of a performance. That's one of the best I've seen That's right up there, Bays, and you got to say it. It's right up there with Kenneth's 5, like top 5 performances. I will never rank 1 to 5, but what Bryce Young did on Saturday and dismantled the best defense in football.
What happened? Dismantled.
Yeah, dismantled them. I was watching and I was like, I'm not seeing, oh no. I saw Ohio State give away the piece they probably needed, and they might be in the football playoff right now. That's like a triple just take shit Ohio State, and nobody here gives a shit about Ohio State at all. There's not a person here that's like feeling bad for CJ Stroud, who I thought had if he would have won the Michigan game, he would have been high, but no, Bryce Young. So I want to give that to you. I'm going to take this over to Mike Bazemore. This is a beautiful thing for you because at the end of the day, all you're seeing, it's like a phoenix that's it's got like a couple embers on its wings, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's ignited and we still got some work to do. But what a way to have. You got a guy that's going to New York. You got a young quarterback, true freshman, and you got a guy that wants to be there for the long haul. Yeah, let me sign me up to this. Give me 4 to 5 years, right? So good to you, Bays. Now I'm going to take it down to you, Georgia fan. The reason why this show is going on at 5-something Montana time, this shit could have happened 5 hours ago. And all I'm going to say to you is the same thing that I say to Chris Turner every year, which is a compliment once again to well-earned Bud. That's why his name is well-earned Bud. Don't blow it. We've seen you guys. You guys had the opportunity to slay Goliath, and you didn't do it. And the inability to get out of your way and go, you know what? We should Alabama these mofos. We should have put in the quarterback that should be playing to begin with. The ego of it makes me nervous for you guys. You're good. Your defense actually played, in my opinion, very good football after it realized, Bryce Young's that deal. It just took y'all like 28 points to realize, hey, this dude is good. And we just made Auburn look bad. Like it was shitty. America, I'm just gonna this is gonna be a round table for at least 40 minutes, but I just want to be as the guy that has no horse in the race. All 3 of these guys had horse in the race, but I've been able to watch all 3 of the teams play. Georgia, to me, can still win this thing, and they should still win this thing. However, he goes a motherfucker, and you have further let me know what it is to not be the true definition of a front-running fan. That's why I give Chris Turner a lot of credit. At least he talks shit all the time. He'll give you a little nervous and he'll give you a minute, but that motherfucker believes Alabama's going to win every time they step on the floor. Like, we have to pick him up off the floor. Floor is yours. Former number 1 team ranked in the country. Go ahead.
Oh, shit, we can't hear him.
Yeah, what's going on with you? You better connect your audio.
The audio messed up. I'll say this.
Yeah.
I like callbacks. I love a good callback. Georgia is the Justin Timberlake of the R&B game.
Oh, you can't. Now hold up, Maze. Time out, Maze.
After he dropped that Man in the Woods album, Alabama is the Silk Sonic team of the SEC. We need challengers.
I don't want Georgia football being associated with my chicken sandwiches from Chick-fil-A where I violate black rule days. I can't do that.
You know. Love a good callback.
That's still one of the dopest lines in the history of the show. But go ahead, Baze. I'm sorry.
Anton, go ahead.
Your team just got called the Timberlake.
First, let me address one thing that you said. Yes, if I didn't scream at the TV 400 times and talk to that fool in the corner down there at halftime and said, if they do not bring in JT Daniels, I'm gonna have to slap Kirby Smart. Give him one series. Bennett can have one series after the half. That's it. And what do? We looked at the blueprint that Nick Saban left us. The scores were damn near the same. Everything was damn near the whole feel of it was the same. All you had to do was switch the quarterback, and I think that game turns out different.
In his defense, like he said, we had that conversation. Like, I got a bunch of calls like all the entire game, which I didn't answer. I answered his though. He even said, like, this conversation me and him had, like, dude, if they switch quarterbacks, like, this is a completely different game. It's a complete. Don't get me wrong, I have no problem with Stetson Bennett. Like, he's a good quarterback, but you have to be great in that situation. And like good gets you to the dance. Great gets you laid, pretty much. Like, great gets you a piece of ass. Good just gets you to the prom. So he needed to be great, and because he couldn't close.
Great gets you a piece of ass?
I'm like, where is this podcast going?
Yeah, I don't know. I had some agreeing to disagree. When you said greats will get you a piece of ass, I'll take an ass whoop from my wife in this podcast. I know that's false because I've seen well below average get a piece of ass in my football playing time. That's all I'm saying.
That's a whole different conversation.
That's the point. I'm just taking your words and I had to use them against you in your glory because
Stetson wasn't great enough to close. I feel like if you put the starter, the actual passer in the game, the actual field general that can control and kind of watch out for that blitz and realize this is robbery, it's not cover two.
Throw it away.
Oh, they're running man. Let me throw the ball away.
But see, you know what? In my opinion, with this, yes, what I had put in JT Daniels to start the second half, I think everybody in here would have did that.
Yeah.
Bays maybe not, but I don't know, the way that the three of us are like, yeah, we did. But this is what I will say, and this is the point. If you are only giving up 7 points a game, that is who your identity is. It does not matter who takes snaps. He has not mattered all year. So I'm not going to blame Stetson Bennett III. I think he played within his means, and he gave you everything he had. And there's 11 guys on the side of the field. Now, mind you, we've made a joke here or there. They're missing a couple of guys.
Yeah,
they are.
It's self-inflicted.
And that's their fault. Chris Turner has been betting on, I'm hoping the guys that they miss, and I'm praying that by the time I have a chance for my guys to play them, it will match up. Listen, we all have conversations with each other about different things. I'm going to give Chris Turner credit. Because this show is now built on being, as much as I love the Stephen A. Smiths, for us to have this platform and do these things, we're built on, you know what, if you're wrong, admit you're wrong.
Right.
And I'm going to give Chris Turner credit because I said they had no chance in that game. But Chris Turner, to his credit, said, a couple of them guys that got caught up in some cases, they got contagious. Mr. Ron Isley song featuring R. Kelly. They were missing some guys. And if anybody should have known that, the way this screen is set up for me, I'm just going to point in a diagonal left. You should have known. So you should have been the first guy to come on this screen, as I've seen Chris Turner do, and say, you know what, I have nervousness, but I'm still going to take Bama by infinity. He's done that on this show. I don't know if he released the show, but the show before this, he said, I'm nervous about playing Georgia, but I'm still going to take my guys. Those are my guys. So I give him credit for that. It takes credit to know that, you know what, you should not win. But if some things go your way and you're good enough, you can win. That's the game of football. Anton, do you click? I mean, this is your moment. You need to apologize to Chris Turner. That's really what this show is about. Like, I'm going to turn the AC off for 30 minutes. Apologize to that man.
Young brother, you bet not. Young brother, you bet not, young brother.
Apologize to who?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly what do I need to apologize to him for?
The
Man to man,
disrespect that
listen,
I had to sit here
Speaking
and
facts
take.
that were in black and white going into that game, is that what I'm apologizing for? Am I apologizing for you scoring 3 points on Auburn? Is that what I'm apologizing for?
You are, first of all, I still love the fact that you were an asshole. I just want to point that out. I still love that fact. I love the fact that I called this because there's something about confidence. And it's something about y'all were not. If I'm not even gonna blame your defense, I'm gonna blame your coaching staff for not be y'all to Saban's godful ascent into godhood. He's the only one that noticed that your front seven.
I can't stand it. I can't even stop this shit.
Your front
It's your
seven.
fault, Anton.
Your front seven is amazing. I will give you full credit for that. Your front seven is hands down amazing. But Saban figured out that if you run a 300 and 330 pounder back to back, we're going to test that depth. If we spread everybody out, all right, well, you got a couple 5-stars here and there, but man, that safety may not be a 5-star, and that strong safety may not be a 5-star. He figured out that if you keep that big sumbitch on the sideline, you can run the ball just enough. What's up, Walt?
I'm just raising my hand just to further prove my point. I remember Mike Bazemore on our collaborative show when even he said, you know what? I like where we at. We got a chance. We good. I feel like we could be in that mix. He never in his heart of hearts said that he believed that this was the team that's going to do the Final Four. I remember saying, dude, that secondary we got, I remember him saying that in our show. And I've been drinking since 10 o'clock this morning. So I know what I'm saying. So you need to apologize. I'm trying to help you, help your team. No. I'm going to try to help him. If you apologize to him, listen, I'm going to put it this way. Okay, like I said, listen. One of our great correspondents, Dallas Leslie, is my arch rival in all of fantasy football. History I've been playing. I've been playing fantasy football since I was a sophomore in college. And Dallas is whooping my ass today. You know what I sent to him today? I said, dude, man, fair and square, you whoop my ass, better man won, congratulations. Because I want that energy to be out in the world. When you get beat and you get owned, you know what? Doesn't mean his team's better than mine, but you know what? He outplayed me today. He played the right guys and did the right things and he did that. So the point I'm making is we have 3 people on this show. I threw Northwestern out of the Big Ten a long time ago. I just like, we'll make a bowl game next year. Holler at me because I'm very good at those predictions. It's my team. I know better. Mike Bazemore, I remember him saying when Michigan was number 3, he was like, yeah, our secondary is a little rough. We'll see what happens. And CJ Stroud tore them dudes up the next week.
Barbecue chicken.
And Baze was like, he never even said anything besides the fact of like, he didn't have to defend himself. We didn't have to call him. He has it on wax. Like it's for the country to see. Like those words. Your last wax, this is going to go on wax.
Was arrogant. Pure
was
arrogant.
Very Georgia this, Georgia that. You act like Georgia's been in a national title picture their entire time.
Some of it.
See, now you're backpedaling. You're already looking.
Some of it they have been in.
Apologize to the guy.
And what I will say though, what am I gonna apologize for again? The game, it ain't over. They can have a little junior trophy. We'll take the big.
Fight back, brother. Fight back.
Mike Bazemore. I felt the floor coming to you for a little bit. America, we'll eventually get to how we feel about the Final Four, but this is a venting period for this first 20 minutes. Go ahead, Baze.
All I gotta say is, if we beat Purdue, Michigan is not even a Much dismay, much disgust that we couldn't get it together to beat Purdue to crush Jim Harbaugh, aka Jesus Harbaugh, aka Little Jimmy. I'm just irritated.
AKA, hey, Chris Turner. I don't know if you've released that show yet, or maybe you
I know
did.
where you're going with this, but go ahead.
I think you should tell Mike Bazemore what my Give Me a Minute was the last time you and I talked.
Oh, I thought you was about to go where I thought Harbaugh was about to be a Saban assistant.
No. Just go ahead and let them know what I made sure that I did so I could cleanse my sins. Tell them about my Give Me a Minute that I had to make up on the spot.
We did like 4 fucking shows. You tell me.
Oh, okay. So I guess this is more of me talking. Then we'll get to the rankings and how we feel. So, Baze, it's the same thing to you. This show is, to me, is a cleansing of things. It doesn't matter to me how anybody feels or whatever. All I want this show to always be is authentic for what it is. We talk a lot of shit, but when you're right, you're right. But when you're wrong, you're wrong. And I said in my Give Me a Minute, I said, whoever has shitted on this guy, if he even finds a way to not choke this off, like your narrative automatically changes. It is so hard to get to this game. And that's why I knew Baze was going to do that. That's perfect. This is what's beautiful. The reason why Baze doesn't ever have to admit it is because that is legitimately like, even if Desmond Howard was his best fan, and Desmond's like, hey, listen, I'll let you on the show if you like just say that you know that Michigan State is way worse than Michigan, but I'll let you on the show and you could be a pick and do whatever. Baze would always go, fuck you, fuck them, and fuck their feelings. That's just Baze.
So, with that being said,
let Baze go. Let Baze go.
Objectively speaking, did I know Jim Harbaugh would eventually get over the quote unquote hump? Yeah.
No. You listen. This is the first time. Hey, Chris, hold on. I'm gonna let him go, but the fact that he started with objectively speaking.
Hold on. Can I didn't finish my thought. You cut me off.
I know I did, because I heard you say objectively speaking and then say something nice about Jim Harbaugh. And I don't know if I buy it.
See, I was coming with the flowers before the hammer.
All right, go ahead, Baze.
Flowers before the hammer.
I'm sorry.
Like I said,
go ahead. I'll keep drinking. You just go ahead.
Did I think that he would, I guess, get over the hump eventually? I would. I did. But when you look at the actual record of Mr. Harbaugh at Michigan, he has grossly underperformed according to Michigan's metrics of their football team. And so until he actually has I'll be generous, a 500 record against the top 10, against Ohio State, and against us, for that matter, then he still has grossly underperformed.
I like that. That was actually very good. It was still hateful, but it was so hateful in such a classy, statistical, subjective way. It was not objective.
With that being said, here comes the dynamic of this show. Because in all intents and purposes of this show, y'all two are Northerners. It is what it is. Let's out Midwest, whatever. You guys are Northerners. Anton and I are Southerners.
That's right. Me and Bae's been free way longer than y'all been free.
Right. So the ignorance still runs deep in us. So essentially, the same thing that
Bae, I'm sorry I grouped you into that. That the sayings of James Walton and What's Good America do not apply to Mike Bazemore and his feelings.
So that's what I'm saying. Like the same thing that Baze was saying.
Carolina, that's my family roots.
You from Philly? Shut up.
Orangeburg, baby. When they had one Kmart. One Greyhound station.
Go ahead, CT. I'm sorry.
But the same thing that Baze was saying so eloquently and so objectively is the same thing Anton is saying, just the most ignorant way possible. Like, I'm not going to give you an apology. I'm not going to give you a compliment. Like, yeah, y'all won, and like that's all it is. Do I expect an apology or any kind of like, oh, good job type shit from him? No, because he knows damn well if that game would have been in reverse, even if they would have won by a safety or a field goal, I would have called bullshit on the whole game. I would have figured out to say some way they cheated or something. It might be a regional thing, maybe because in the SEC it just means more. But I'm just saying, like, what it comes down to is I knew
that was a shot.
It's a stupid
it
thing.
Babe, he just shot right there. In the SEC, it means more.
That's the slogan. That's just the slogan.
All right. Let me go ahead. You can tell I'm drunk because I've talked way too much for this. Normally Chris leads it, but I want to transition this part before we all get into it because I think everybody's going to need a minute. Forgive me. I want to at least get into the rankings because that's going to be the true media storm of this, and I think the point of this video for us to do was for this day. The rankings obviously being Alabama being 1. Let's see, Michigan being 2, Georgia being 3, and Cincinnati being 4. I'm gonna go first to the departed one. To you, top flight of the world, Craig. I mean, how do you feel about going from 1 to 3 after losing to the number 3 team in the country, but still being in the dance?
I guess it doesn't matter to me where we sit, as long as we didn't play Alabama back to back, because nobody want to see that. But other than that, I don't care. 1, 4, 3, 2, come get it.
What?
Well, he said nobody wanted to see that. Who doesn't want to see that?
Not in the first round.
People don't want to see it back to back.
Not back to back.
And I love that narrative, like in a good way. Not for you or for Chris. It's just who doesn't want to see Alabama? I personally would love to see that shit get run back 2 weeks later from now. Who really is the better team this year? Same records, had to go through their own stuff. Alabama, their 1 losses to a way worse team. And that's not saying anything to Texas A&M, but if Georgia's like, well, who'd you lose to? Well, we lost to Bama. Well, do you think you could beat them? Yeah, we can beat them mugs this time. So why don't you think people would have wanted to see that back to back?
Because there ain't no money in it.
So you're saying that if it ain't the SEC, it ain't dollars, right?
No. Absolutely not. 1, our fans travel. 2, when they travel, they show up. And they spend money. 3, y'all fans don't travel like that.
Who is y'all? And Mike Bazemore has raised his hand.
I'm just talking to you Northerners. As that's
how we're doing. That's how we're doing the screen. Go ahead, Baze. Go ahead, Baze. Get up in there.
First and foremost, for America, we are brothers, so we're not going to divide. Brother Greer, no. I would say this. The CFP committee only really wants 1 SEC team in the national championship. If you think about it, if they put Georgia 4th, then that gives a high chance for Michigan or a higher chance for Michigan to get into the national championship. So you got Michigan versus Alabama more than likely. Imagine that kind of a championship. So Michigan fans will travel. They have a storied program. They have the most victories when, brothers like ourselves, our complexion wasn't playing. They count all those victories as well in terms of their football.
Actually recruited me when I was a 2.5, 3-star.
So in terms of no money being involved in that, I don't think that's necessarily true. Everyone's going to, honestly, I think running it right back probably gives Georgia a better chance than them playing in the national championship, to be honest with
you. Let me offer a counterpoint to that. And I guess I kind of alongside with Anton on this one. Like, I think it's a money thing because that Michigan game is in Miami, right? All right, so yeah, I think it's in Miami.
At the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, so honestly, that's a 2-hour flight, 3-hour flight from Atlanta, or 9-10-hour drive straight down 95. Like, it's just speaking from dollars of it. Georgia is going to pack Miami because, like I said, like the Atlanta to Miami flight is
$99 on JetBlue.
But
it's a $99 flight.
But Michigan fans are like roaches. They come from everywhere. Everywhere. They're like roaches. They come from everywhere.
Get that. But at the same time,
fans too.
I just think just from a dollar aspect of the convenience of to be able to hop on 95 and not have to make a left or right or anything, get on 95 South and just go. Like, I look at it like Georgia's going to fill up the Orange Bowl or whatever, but with not wanting to run it right back, Harbaugh is a great. I'll give him credit for this. He's a great coach, but he's not captivating. He's not a story. Harbaugh versus Saban is not a story. Like, yet it's not a story compared to an assistant. Like, Harbaugh's like, oh, he finally got over the hump. He's this, he's that. But when you got Thanos, you got Darth Vader, you got God himself.
Well, I got to put my hand down when you start talking about Thanos and Darth Vader and God himself.
All right, so
cares about Kirby Smart or his assistants. They would much rather see Harbaugh. The media loves Harbaugh. Harbaugh versus Saban is a 10 times more compelling.
I don't agree with that one.
And I'm gonna do you one better to shit on Bays. They agree with Harbaugh because they come from the same. They're the same fabric, Bays. I get your hatred. And that's what I made. Like, my Give Me a Minute, it might be one of the best Give Me a Minutes I've had this entire show. Because to forget, I get what he hasn't done in Michigan, but to shit on everything Jim Harbaugh as a coach has done is lack of football intelligence, which is why I always get on you.
Nobody's done that. Who's done that?
You do. You do, because green and white will always trump maize and blue. Like, if he falls short,
his Michigan record. I speak about his Michigan record.
I'm not worried about his Michigan record. His Michigan record. He's been in multiple, or probably how many years has he been in the championship game since he's been there, Baze? I'm gonna give you that stat. You'll know that better than me because I know how many times Northwestern's been in that game.
Have they been in that game?
Once. And who has he had to go through that? The harder side of the easier side. You know what makes it being a Northwestern fan base? It's objectivity. Should we go look back at the teams that Jim Harbaugh's had to go through? And the last time your team was actually in that battle too? How many times has Michigan State been in that game?
Once.
Since it was invented.
Like twice.
So Jim Harbaugh's only one behind you.
Trash.
So the point that I'm making is, if you're going to be objective, this is why I'm here. Be all the way objective. You're objective to a fault. And it's because, you know what? Trust me. I was literally home from my 20-year reunion. It's not a very good 20-year reunion. And I've also been clowned by a couple of guys who were like, yeah, some guys flew into town and they were here and it wasn't that, and they're talking about doing 25 year. Let it be known, I love RJ De Leon. I love RJ runs Chicago. He's great. Hey, RJ, I'm that guy. I think we should have a good time and hang out with each other 5 years later. So here's a minute. Give me a minute. Don't you ever disrespect me. It's James Madison Walton III. I am 2001. Period. But now I go back to what Baze said. I just took my moment. I love RJ. I can't wait to see RJ when I'm back in town. My point that I'm making to Baze is that it just further lets me know that he can't be objective about Jim Harbaugh. He proved it.
I gave stats. Did I not give stats?
Here's the difference between me and all three of you guys. The thing is that if you say somebody can never do something, I've heard Baze say the word never. I've heard Chris Turner say the word never.
Yeah.
And I've heard Anton Greer say, we ain't never giving this lead up. And all three of you got bounced.
Bang, bang.
You'll never hear a Northwestern fan ever talk about never. Because we inspired to be the impossible. If you ever thought that the greatest graduate of the history of your school was going to be
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
And sprinkle in a little Oprah Winfrey, add some Mike Wilbon on the side, you thought that shit was going to make you relevant for the rest of your life? Shit, that's a hell of a bet. But I mean, to get back to the football, I just like to fuck with
Please, God, please.
The football, this is this. It's very simple because we're getting close. We got about 4 minutes before everybody's going to need. I got guys. Hey, Chris, you know what I love about the show? We got two guys that literally like take 60 seconds and get their minutes out. These motherfuckers are going to need some minutes. I can see them taking minutes and then just hanging up. It's going to be me and you on these screens. But the point of this is this. We're missing everything that's happened. And why I asked? The rating got it 100% right. Because for the first time, the only undefeated team in the country has a chance to either stand up and get its ass whooped by 40. That's option A. It's a multiple choice. Stand up and you know what, man, it just didn't have enough, which I've seen Northwestern do to Ohio State 2 times in the last 3 years. Like, we stand up and we can win this thing, and it's like, man, they had one more punch. Or here's Luke Fickell going, I'll choose whatever job I want for whatever money I want if I step up and I'm the guy that beats Chris Turner's team. Because here's the truth of the matter.
You can't slap box with God.
Yeah, and CM Punk retired for 7 years too. Stop that bullshit. The point is, and that's my favorite wrestler, period. Chi-Town stand up. Don't do lines like that. You know what? All right. You know what? Let's see. You know what? I'm just gonna do a random select. You hate everything that Michigan's gonna do, so they won't win. You're fucking got too many F-bombs. My mom's gonna kick my ass. Yeah. You're Georgia fucking all that shit. Like you're what's it called? What's it called? I'm trying to think of
he's a homer. That's what it comes down to. He's a homer.
Your hubris. Your Georgia hubris is way too high. And you're way too excited that you had to barely get in because Alabama had you beat. That quarterback's leg wouldn't have been dragging. You wouldn't even be here. This conversation would have happened on Saturday. I guarantee you, Baze and Anton would have made time to tell you to eat shit. Because even if you'd have won this game, you still wouldn't have got in. Notre Dame would have been like,
I can say I speak for the three of us when we're all glad Notre Dame's not in it. Like we're all pretty happy about that. Like,
hey, outside of they got a black head coach.
And respect for that. They do have a black head. I respect.
Now they do. Now,
That's what
going
I'm saying.
forward,
He would have. He would have been.
Oh, Anton, they've had one
in that
before, and
game.
all of a
He would've
sudden,
moving
I
forward.
mean, that might be my give me a minute. You should see the things I've seen by certain people in my chats and other chats that are not ours. And it's like, oh, Brian Kelly's horse. I'm like, I'll tell you what, let me tell you something. They'll turn their back on everybody. I'm like, damn, this dude is the all-time winningest coach in Notre Dame. He's gotten them there multiple times. And you know, this guy realized, he's like, you know what? I could do this for the rest of my college career. And there's a good chance I'm never going to win a career. I'm never going to win a title. All he wants is one title.
I don't know if he would match at LSU, but I will say this. We know he can coach. He can coach his ass off.
He can coach.
I mean, hey, LSU gonna have some dogs. If they really bind and mesh with him.
Well, hold on. That was my last question. I know we're getting to give me a minute. Like I said, there's a difference between going into a 4-star, 5-star kid, and I'll leave race out of it, but you'll get the drift of it. There's a difference between Brian Kelly going and sitting in the living room for Notre Dame and going to recruit Kyle and his mom and dad are there and everything, between now Brian Kelly now has to go and recruit Lil Juju.
But you're missing it. But you're missing it. He's never, see, I'm going to cut you off today because we're going to give me a minute. And plus, it's my show. He's never had the opportunity to do that. You can't sit there and say there's a difference when he's never had a chance. He had to go get the best player that he could get that's going to get to his school. He knew who he was not going to get. So he ought to always go to try to get the best player he can get, which means the GPA plus the stars.
Right.
You can't say that, Chris.
I can say that because that Juju can still have the grades, but Lil Juju can still be from the hood.
You also didn't think you were going to have to beg Georgia to lay an egg to get into a national playoff game.
You didn't lay an egg. We just broke the chicken's neck.
No, you begged Georgia to lay an egg. That's what I said.
Yeah, you better shut up. We laid an egg. I finally agree with Walt on that one.
Well, that's part of everybody's problem in this show. The only time I'm wrong is in my house. My wife, that's why she's in the bedroom right now. She's like, let me know when this little show is over. But here's the point that this show was supposed to be about, and we didn't get to there because y'all egos is crazy. Do y'all give me a minute, and then I'll do the last give me a minute and do the goddamn show. So who's gonna go first? Because Bays has to go cook at some point. And I don't need him to be on a show because I want to shout out Major Bazemore. We know what his destiny is. Shout out to Mama Sparling, soon to be Mama Bazemore, Jamie. She carried past term for a reason. I know what time it is.
Big boy weighing in at 14 pounds, 12 ounces, and not even 3 months yet. He's probably at 15.
I knew what time it was. Yeah. So I want to shout out Jamie, my most favorite Big Ten sparring partner, not named Mike Bazemore. Shout out, soon to be Mrs. Bazemore. So we're going to give me a minute because basically this came down to Chris Turner with a heavyweight championship belt that he has the right to put all over his titties. Who wants to go first? I'm going last because I'll wrap the show up.
I'll knock mine because mine is short. So, America, I got nothing to drink tonight, but give me a minute.
I got plenty for you. You want me to drink for you real quick?
Please, if you don't mind.
Just let me know when I should do it. Point to the screen.
Go ahead. As Walt takes his gulp, I was going to call it a sip. That one was a gulp. I feel like, don't get me wrong, I'm super happy that Alabama made it to the Final Four. I'll be one of the first ones to go on record to say I didn't think that this was the team that was going to be the team that makes it into the Final Four, but there's something to speak of when it comes to tradition, legacy, and a team that is used to winning. Now, granted, this team is young all across the board. I honestly thought like next year was going to be the year that we can be more of a juggernaut. But at the same time, with the Cincinnati draw, and I'm not taking anything away from Cincinnati, like you still got to strap them up and you still got to play. With the Cincinnati draw, who has a Saban assistant for a head coach and a running back that couldn't get on the field at Alabama, but with us potentially being able to get past the first round, if we make it to the championship, anything can happen. honestly, I feel like we'll see Georgia again, and it'll be a much closer game. But there's something to say about giving a team like this confidence. And honestly, this Georgia team was honestly who we were looking at when we played against Texas A&M. This Georgia team was the same team we were looking at when we were playing against Auburn. Like, this Georgia team is where everything has been aimed at the entire time. Now, that could be a good thing and a bad thing. All I know is we made it to the playoffs. We shouldn't have, because honestly, we probably should have dropped 2, maybe 3 games this year. But we made it, and there's something to say about that. So now that we're in the dance, we got a 25% chance, just like everybody else. America, that's been my minute.
That felt like shots fired right there at Georgia. So
No, that's legit. Like, we were looking at them the entire year, because you got to look like they're built the same way we were built all those championship years.
but you said that they were the same as what? When you watched, they were the same as A&M, and they were the same as what? What else were they same?
I said we were looking past all of those teams to look at them. So there was no shot fired at all. You want some shit to be said, is all that is. All right.
Anton, that little shit right there, that's the best part about having the video. We used to do this show in the dark. Baze is one of the originals from the dark. We used to do this and just walk around our rooms. Bitch, I can see you doing that. That's what the show's based. The show is based off of fucking stirring the richest view. Who's next? I'm intrigued to see what comes out of everybody's mouth.
I'll go. America, give me a minute. Georgia, I swear for God, don't you do this. You better bounce back and play to the caliber that you've been playing at all year. I promise you, you better not let this dude in his national championship, all these Michigan possums come out of the woodworks. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like, dude, y'all better not let this happen. All right. Outside of that, I'm calling the upset. Cincinnati national champion of 2022. Book it. Book it. America, that's been my minute.
Sorry, hold on. Let me take a drink after that. That shit.
Yeah, you might want to take it. Is that a Sonic cup?
No, it's Arby's.
Hey, shout out Arby's. Hey, we got to say it in this house. Don't you ever marry somebody that you won't take to Arby's. So once again, hey, on air to your face. I know we did it the last show we did, but congratulations, by the way, on your engagement, AG.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's fucking badass, man. At the end of the day, I can drop an F-bomb with that, man. Mazel to you.
Appreciate
Before
you.
you give me a minute.
All right, America, give me a minute. First and foremost, I'm going to address Mr. Bazemore on the we bet not with Michigan. Michigan better not run the football, because that ain't going to happen. Number one. Number two, college football is scripted. Yes, I said it. I told Turner it's scripted last goddamn night. Okay? The shit is scripted, okay? And they want the money. And now, then we're going to pass the torch over on to Kirby from Nick this year. And if you, and Bazemore, wait, hold on. Sorry, America. I need another half second for Bazemore. Cincinnati 2022?
Book it. 2022 upset specials. University of Cincinnati national champion.
They can't even spell championship or national, either or, because they ain't seen one in a long time. Okay, neither has Georgia. I get it. Okay, and last part of my minute is Nick Saban. I hope his blood sugar goes up. That's all I got to say, America. That's my minute.
Why is blood sugar gotta go up?
We are the best correspondents in the world, CT. That's all I know. He didn't have a beginning to end. He's gonna just tell everybody, "Hey, fuck you, Georgia's winning." That's
pretty much.
All right, so. All right, here we go. Oh, save enough time. Baze didn't start dinner yet, so As soon as I seen Bay start up and leave, I know I've gone too long. So America, give me a minute. So I'm gonna keep this, give me a minute, exactly where it's supposed to be. You know, we're talking about America's game. My wife right now, she's boiling water. She's making something delicious, and it's all beautiful. And in my opinion, this has been as beautiful as the college football game has been in a long time. You have a new Goliath that shows up, and they just stomp down on everybody. You have these teams coming out of nowhere, the Michigan States, and they're like, hey, take a look at our guy that scored 5 touchdowns. You have these things that happen, these stories that, well, here's a guy that's been a part of our fabric for 20 years. He left for a few years, but here's a guy that's been doing 10 wins, 11 wins every year. And then you finally give in and do the right thing. And it takes an Ohio State coach to go down there. And you give an undefeated team that's not in a Power 5 conference a chance to go, you know what? Go out there and compete. And you know what? We're praying that you lose by 30. So we can do whatever we want to do with this to make our money. Here's the beauty of having Team Walton go last in this conversation. The 3 of them have to shut the fuck up. So here's the truth of this, America. It's easily, it would not be ever duplicated. This is one of the best college football seasons you've ever seen. Cincinnati, to their credit, is the Central Florida from 4 or 5 years ago that got robbed of their opportunity to win or lose on their sword. That's who they are. I'm not saying they're a better or worse team, but at least they got the chance to go, we want to play number 1. You know, McKenzie Milton, I think is Milton is his last name. When he blew his knee out and he led an undefeated team and they were the only undefeated team in the country, I'm pretty sure all he wanted to do was like, just give me one chance when it mattered. But he beat the shit out of Auburn, and Alabama could barely get by without 3 overtimes. So that's my to you, Chris Turner. Don't ever nod at me. Know your role. Shut your mouth. Mike Bazemore, to disrespect who Jim Harbaugh has been in coaching for 20 years is a disrespect to how you handle yourself. Reputation means things. You know what? We lose big games, that's fine. When I'm not given the opportunity to win the big game, or that's what my knock is, not win the big game, that dude coached us in a Super Bowl. Your argument's already broken. I don't give a shit if he won or lost there, L. I can tell that you didn't have to cook dinner at 6 o'clock because you're throwing L's to me. So I win on that, and I always will win until Mr. Number 1 in the country. It's still your championship to lose. You should look dead into the screen so I can look you in your eyes. I actually think, as Chris Turner, to give him more credit, I think Stetson Bennett is actually the quarterback to lead you. Here's the difference. You hadn't played anybody like Alabama until you played them. And I'm going to go ahead and take credit for myself because I told Chris Turner this. I said, what was Alabama lacking? Because I didn't know when this show first started, before the season started. I said, they don't have stars. And Chris Turner will pick his head up right now. Pick it up. And who did I say? They got a star. Put his number up with your hand. What's his number on his jersey? Yeah, he's got a number. He's got a number.
It's about 1, 8, 9.
1. Jameson Williams, and I said it multiple shows, he will be the reason that Alabama either wins or loses the national championship. So America, to conclude my minute, Mike Bazemore's on, just can't be Michigan. Oh, I don't care. He'll take Alabama over Michigan. Anton Greer. Bro, if we lose to them again, whew, I got to deal with this dude. And to Chris Turner, look me dead in the camera. You have a star. And I'm telling you, it's up to him. If he plays the way that I've seen and he has shown for the last 8 weeks, because here's the truth of it. Had he not been called out for targeting, Auburn would have been close. America, that's been my minute.
So, with all that being said, I know gentlemen got to go cook dinner and be parents and be husbands and be all that they could be in this wonderful, wonderful world. We appreciate everybody tuning in.
I just wish people would tell the truth on our show when they let them on our show, Chris. Like, we're not selfish. Jameson Williams might be the best player in the country, and he has been. And he fucked that game up 2 different ways. I don't understand the lack of coming to this show. I'm not even rooting for Alabama, but I know how good he is.
Everybody's rooting for Alabama.
He's me, but the ability to tackle on special teams, which makes him way better than me.
Make sure you tune into all of our old shows on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Make sure you can check all the dual simulcast, everything on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you're following us all. With all that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and share. Doghouse Training.
Wait. Upper Deck Baseball.
Doghouse Training, Upper Deck Baseball. Make sure you support MSUB and all their athletics. Make sure that if you need anything technological for all of your employment needs, make sure you holler at Walt. I'm not going to let you know where I work at because
Don't do that.
I can't let you know where me and Anton work at because no, I had to sign like the little agreement and everything. So
it's Bays versus everybody. It's like Bruce Campbell in a Dead Evil movie.
So matter of fact, just go support
Zombies
MSUB.
everywhere, Bays.
Go support MSUB and all that stuff and Doghouse Training and Billings Upper Deck. Follow us on all that stuff, but don't ask where we work at. Well,
shout out Cincinnati, shout out Alabama, shout out Georgia, and shout out Michigan.
So the same question we asked you tonight is the same question we asked you and all the time. And what is that?
What's good, America?
What's good, America?